Yes, we are.
An interesting-looking man, I must say. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Mark Marshall.
Mark Marshall. Tell us about Mark Marshall. Can you just turn around for a second? I want to see that long hair.
Hi.
All right.
Hi. Thank you.
You got the long hair.
I'm a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, composer, multimedia artist.
And do you like all of those things the same?
So
you're a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Master of all?
Well, master. I think master is a relative term.
I know.
No, I'm not. I know people who are like hardcore, studio hitmen who can play anything. I'm not one of them.
Okay.
I'm somebody who plays instruments in order to get a piece of music out.
Like it comes from inside.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So we can put his stuff on in the background, Phoenicia.
By the way, hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Actually,
thanks for being here.
It's especially wonderful being here with Dan.
Dan Herman. He's a wonderful co-host.
I try.
And he knows so many of us.
Yeah. Well, I tell a quick story. I tell people every time I have the chance. Dan played. I released an album in 2007 called New Eye, and Dan played one of the tracks from the album on his show. But not only did he play the track, but he spent like 5 minutes afterwards reading my liner notes on the air.
I love a good backstory, and you have quite that.
Well, let's hear some backstory.
Well, I mean, okay.
Tell us about you.
Well, the album took place over that album took place over 3 years, and I lived in 2 different places while I was doing it. And the studio's in my apartment. I didn't go to a studio to do it, And
do you have agoraphobia?
No.
You left the house ever?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Except that I work from home and I record from home, so I, and so it was basically just sort of. It was doing what I'd normally be doing anyway, which was recording, but it was sort of cataloging a life experience along the way. It just by its nature, it told the story.
I know.
So
I remember the first time that it made sense to me why they call it a record.
Yeah.
Like I never even put 2 and 2 together until one record was like, oh my God, it's a recording.
I still call them records.
But it's a recording of that time.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
It's a record.
Yep.
That's what it means to. I know, but when I never thought of it like that. But when you just said that, it reminded me.
Well, and this is also one of the reasons. I mean, I love albums, and I sort of feel like albums are a dying art because everything's about singles now. But there's something beautiful about an album. You find when there's an album that you love, the space between 2 tracks, you memorize how long that space is, and the way that the fade happens, and when the next one's coming up. I mean, it's all a story.
So you're a big fan of analog as opposed to digital, I assume.
I mean, you could do the same thing with digital. I mean, you do it with CDs, but yeah.
But time evolves and things do move on. We were blessed to have that in our bloodstream.
So what I'm doing now.
Talk about what you're doing, yeah.
Well, I'm doing a project called 4 for 4, and what 4 for 4 is I was actually bemoaning the state of piracy and what do you do if you're not a performing artist, because what all the pundits were, a year ago, everybody was saying, well, what you should do is record, give the music away for nothing, then go out and perform to make the money back. Well, that's great, but what if all you do is record?
Right.
And so, and I was actually writing this blog post about honoring art, and that's what it was about, was honoring art. And then I just had this flash, what if I bring people along for the process? So what I'm doing is I'm doing 4 albums online over the course of a year with an online audience. So they actually, I'm putting rough tracks up, I'm putting, bad background vocals, all of it.
You're streaming all of this?
Some of it's streamed and some of it's in text, obviously. But you can go to 4.markmarshall.com.
Wait.
It's FOUR, 4.markmarshall.com.
Oh, like 4, the number.
Yeah.
Spell it out.
Yeah, 4.markmarshall.com. And I'm charging people $4 a month for the life of the project, and it's only got 4 months left.
How ironic.
Well, right. Now, for people who participated through the whole thing, when it's done, they all get copies of the actual hardcore albums, and their names are printed on the album cover.
Very nice.
But in the meantime, they get to see, like, for instance, just as an example, I just moved. I mean, literally in the past 4 weeks, I just moved.
Everything is a 4 to you, is that right?
Inadvertently, it's not my preference. It just happened that way.
Yeah.
But number 4 is about organization, I think, in numerology.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I think 4 is also like a winning team. Like they say, you need 4. It's like 4 wheels on a car,
right.
4 corners.
It's the most solid. Sure.
Yeah, supposedly.
That's why I can't ice skate, but I can roller skate.
Because there's
you go on this,
cords.
exactly.
Oh,
you're flat, right?
interesting.
Well, so anyway, so I moved. Well, that means I have to tear down an entire recording studio that people have been watching me work in since last April. So I documented the whole process of disconnecting every cable and where am I going to put the speakers in the new place and where am I going to put the console. And the other
Gearheads
thing
must
too,
love you.
well, it occurred to me after the fact that it's actually, to me, it's important too because people don't take, they turn on, they put on iTunes or they turn on the radio, and I love that people are fans of music, but it's important that people know that people actually have to go through this stuff in order to make music. And I thought, what a great thing to do to document it, to document the whole process, including, the hell that you go through trying to write. And I write in a weird way in the first place because I do all the music first and then I write the words and the melodies.
Is that how you do it?
No, I do it. I have no science to the way I do it. Sometimes it comes out one way, sometimes it comes out another, sometimes it comes out as a whole little package.
Yeah, I would say 80% of the time that's the way that I write. The
but
other
I
20%
find,
it just comes out.
Yeah, and I find like what I don't write down is what I keep.
Yeah.
What's like in my memory, like without writing it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have a lot of my stuff written out. It's like all in my freaking Rolodex in my head.
Well, I had to start writing it down because my head's
Well, other people
full
need
already.
me to. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But, it's what I memorize. I know I can remember. Yeah. But a lot of people do write music first or whatever way works for them. That's because no two people see the same thing.
It's true. The same way.
Ever. No matter what. So what do you write about? What's your newest song about? Your newest song. Do you have a new song?
Well, I have a whole. Right now, I'm working on about 35 songs simultaneously.
Ah.
So.
Right.
But it's usually.
Is it like a score?